In the year 1643, a young samurai destroyed his future in less than 3 seconds. Not because he was weak, not because he lacked skill, but because he allowed a single emotion to act before his awareness caught up. One uncontrolled reaction cost him his position, his honor, and nearly his life. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Many people today repeat that same mistake every single day. We react before thinking. We speak before breathing. We explode before choosing. And relationships break. Careers collapse. Inner peace disappears. Not because we're bad people, but because no one ever taught us how self-control actually works. The good news? There is a method, a system refined centuries ago by samurai and now confirmed by modern neuroscience. 3 principles, when practiced together, create what scientists now call elite emotional regulation. The samurai called it the unwavering mind. Those 3 principles are: today, you'll learn how these ideas work through the story of Henry Miller, a man who nearly lost everything before discovering this method. But before we begin, take a moment to subscribe, like the video, and share in the comments. When was the last time you reacted impulsively and regretted it later? Let's build a community of people who master their own minds. Now, the story. A man unraveling. Henry Miller was 34 years old when his life began quietly collapsing. He was a vice president of product at a fast-growing AI startup in San Francisco. High income, large team, industry respect. From the outside, he had made it. Inside, Henry lived in constant tension. Meetings turned hostile. Emails sent late at night carried sharp edges. Small disagreements with his wife spiraled into full arguments. His 8-year-old son, Jake, had started keeping his distance. "Dad's not in a good mood," he would whisper. "Better not talk to him." And the most painful part? Henry knew it was happening. He could feel the anger rising. He could hear himself thinking, "Stop, don't say that." But the words came out anyway, like a switch flipping before he could reach it, until the day everything broke. During a presentation to investors, Henry snapped at a comment from his chief engineer, Derek. Derek stood up. "I can't do this anymore," he said calmly. "You're brilliant, Henry, but working under you feels unsafe. Everyone is afraid to speak." Then he resigned, in front of the entire room. No shouting followed, just silence and shame. That night, Henry's wife was waiting. "I'm exhausted," she said. "Jake is afraid of you. I'm afraid of how you'll react. We can't keep living like this." She paused. "If something doesn't change, I'll have to choose what's best for me and our son." That was the moment Henry understood. He didn't have an anger problem. He had no space between feeling and action. And without that space, he would lose everything. Neuroscience explains people like Henry very clearly. Between a trigger and your reaction, there exists a microscopic delay, roughly 0.2 to 0.5 seconds. In that brief window, one of 2 systems takes control. The amygdala, fast, emotional, defensive. The prefrontal cortex, thoughtful, strategic, conscious. When self-control is weak, the amygdala hijacks the system before the rational brain even arrives. No choice, only reaction. And the more often this happens, the stronger that pathway becomes, until reacting impulsively feels automatic. Henry lived in that loop, until a chance meeting changed everything. The stranger in the cafe. 3 days later, Henry sat alone in a quiet cafe, scrolling angrily through emails. At the table beside him sat an older Japanese man, calm, upright, unreadable. Henry spilled his coffee and cursed loudly. The man looked up. "You're always in a hurry," he said softly. "Your hands, your eyes, even your breathing." Henry froze. "I'm Kenji," the man continued, "and you are exhausted from fighting your own mind." Something about the way he said it made Henry listen. Kenji explained. "Your mind is too full. When it overflows, control disappears, reaction takes over." Henry asked how to fix it. Kenji smiled. "Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. I'll show you." The 3 principles. The next morning, Henry arrived at a small, hidden dojo. Kenji taught him 3 ideas, not as philosophy, but as training. Mushin, the empty mind. Not the absence of thought, but freedom from attachment to thought. Thoughts pass, you do not chase them. When the mind stops clinging, clarity appears. The sacred space. Kenji showed Henry that control does not come from force, it comes from delay. One breath, one pause. That pause becomes choice. Without it, there is only reaction. Wabi-sabi, peace with imperfection. Henry exploded because reality never matched his expectations. People made mistakes, plans failed, life resisted control. Wabi-sabi teaches acceptance, not passivity, but realism. Imperfection is not the enemy, fighting it is. Practice under fire. Kenji gave Henry simple rules. Sit daily and observe the mind. Breathe before responding. Release one expectation each day. The first week was painful. Old habits screamed for control. But then something shifted. In a meeting where Henry would normally explode, he paused, he breathed, he chose. At home, arguments softened into conversations. His son noticed. "You're calmer now," Jake said one night. Henry nearly cried. The final test. Weeks later, Henry met Derek again. This time, Henry didn't defend himself. He listened. He accepted criticism without collapse. He admitted imperfection without shame. Derek returned. So did others. Leadership noticed. What had changed? Henry learned something simple, but rare. Self-control is not suppression. It is space. The way forward. 6 months later, Henry sat in the same cafe with his son and wife. Life wasn't perfect, but he was no longer at war. Kenji's final words stayed with him. The real test comes when life breaks you again. Henry smiled. When it does, he said, I'll breathe, I'll pause, I'll choose. Final message. The samurai method of self-control is not about perfection. It's about presence. Mushin teaches you that you are not your emotions. Ma shows you there is always space. Wabi-sabi reminds you that imperfection is human and beautiful. So ask yourself, where are you reacting instead of responding? Where are you fighting reality instead of understanding it? Where could one breath change everything? Because you always have a choice. You just need space to see it.